everyone
Nafta cost us jobs.
hates
I would like to renegotiate it.
NAFTA.
The worst trade deal.
But it wasn't always that way. The North American Free Trade Agreement was supposed to,
expand our exports, create new jobs.
and most people were really excited about it. So what actually happened?
President Donald Trump called NAFTA the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, so he wants to renegotiate it or kill it altogether. So what is NAFTA? The letters stand for North American Free Trade Agreement. Starting in 1994, it bound the US, Canada, and Mexico into a single free trade zone. That means avocados from Mexico, auto parts from the US, oil from Canada, and thousands of other products can cross borders tax-free within the NAFTA zone. NAFTA was signed by President Bill Clinton and was intended to encourage trade between the three countries. Canada was already America's top trading partner, so the agreement's big goal was to link Mexico to its northern neighbors and modernize its economy. By creating good jobs in Mexico, it was expected to reduce the number of Mexicans crossing illegally into the US to find work. From the beginning, critics warned the deal would hurt American workers.
Pay $1 an hour for your labor, have no health care, and no retirement, and you don't care about anything but making money, there will be a giant sucking sound going south.
True enough, many American companies set up factories in Mexico. America's trade surplus with Mexico turned into a big deficit. And despite NAFTA's intentions, the number of Mexicans living illegally in the U.S. more than doubled between 1995 and 2007, before going into a steady decline. But economists say the impact on U.S. jobs overall has been small, partly because the $19 trillion American economy is so huge that trade with Mexico doesn't make much difference. American consumers benefited as cheaper products were shipped north. Detroit has done a booming business supplying auto parts to the Mexican factories that assemble cars. Companies with operations straddling the U.S.-Mexican border warned that rewriting or canceling NAFTA would throw their businesses into disarray. Some economists worry that a disruption in trade with the U.S. will wreck Mexico's economy and send more migrants across the border in search of work.
First, eliminate barriers to trading. Second, fair competition in free trade zone. Third, increase investment opportunities.
Since the agreement, U.S. trade amongst Mexico and Canada has tripled. The U.S. trade deficit with Canada and Mexico has increased significantly. But, according to this congressional report, NAFTA actually hasn't had that large an effect on the U.S. economy. NAFTA only increased the U.S. GDP by a few hundredths of a percent because, relative to the size of the total economy, trade with Mexico and Canada isn't that big. So the biggest question of all, how has it affected American jobs? Economists agree there's no simple answer. It's impossible to completely separate the effects NAFTA has had on the economy from other external forces like recessions, currency valuations, technological automation, and overall increases in globalization. Many U.S. manufacturing jobs have moved overseas to countries that America doesn't even have free trade agreements with, like China. Overall, domestic manufacturing has taken a spill. Trade has increased, and goods are cheaper.
NAFTA major problem: loss of U.S. jobs, suppression of U.S. wages, illegal immigrants increase. The United States rate of GDP increased because FDI increased.
Or GDP were just released, and I am thrilled to announce that in the second quarter of this year, the United States economy grew at the amazing rate of 4.1%.
Illegal immigration from Mexico increased.
He promises to align more troops along the southern border, blocking Central American migrants from entering the U.S. Many say they are fleeing violence and poverty.
They got a lot of rough people in those caravans. They are not angels. They are not.
And now the president is releasing a controversial new campaign ad depicting an illegal immigrant who killed 2 police officers earlier this year.
Lower tariff lead to lower tax imposed that will reduce price of goods.
For filing their 2018 tax returns. The average refund is down more than 8% compared to the same time last year, according to the IRS.
The answer is yes, because it can boost the economic growth and increase trade between United States, Canada, and Mexico. It can avoid from USMCA. First, it will eliminate NAFTA and give huge loss to big business. Second, Car price will rise, which benefit the seller but not to the purchaser. There will be tariffs.